Welcome to BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher, along with BNEWS Director Rich Hosford and BNEWS reporters Tad Stefanak and Robert Paris. Thank you for joining us. The coronavirus pandemic continues to have profound effects on all aspects of life. As you know, schools have been closed through the academic year, and graduations and other important points of transition are on hold, including weddings and funerals. All businesses deemed non-essential also remain closed, and that is having a big impact on many business owners and landlords. To get a sense of what's happening out there in the business community in Burlington, we've invited Burlington's Economic Development Director, Melissa Tintakalis, for an interview about all things business. Melissa, thank you for joining us.
Hi, Phil. Thank you for the invitation.
Okay, well, let's start with, we're kind of in uncharted waters, uncharted. Have you ever experienced anything even in a small sense of business disruption like we're seeing now?
You know, there's obviously nothing to compare it to, like everyone has been saying. It's really unlike anything anyone's seen. And I think the ripple effects just kind of continue to kind of leave people gaping at how extensive the ripple effects of all of this is. You know, we were, in 2008, obviously at the beginning of the recession, dire consequences, but even the numbers don't even match up now as we're looking at things and how it impacts unemployment and so forth.
And the real estate and the tenant community, man.
Right.
Well, you're in touch with the Chamber of Commerce at this point. Do they have anything underway in terms of dealing with what is going to be, not a hopeless situation, but a desperate situation for their members?
Definitely. I've been working with Rick Parker on a regular basis, and he's been really out there in the trenches trying to gather data and really share it with all his members on a regular basis. In terms of, action at this point, we're only starting to think of how to transition back and small incremental, potentially events that can allow people to feel safe, kind of share the love, but not share the germs, kind of. And so we're trying to start thinking creatively of how that can evolve.
Now, what about stimulus money? Have you heard anything about any Burlington businesses receiving any of these? I know Harvard got $9 million and the Kennedy Center got $35 million. Has any money filtered down to Burlington that you're aware of at this point?
Not on kind of levels like that, as I'm aware of. At this point, the people who have been most impacted have been kind of the smaller independent businesses, as well as the large corporations. But I have not had, hard data on who's received the funding compared to who's applied for the funding. And so that's something that we are going to look forward to with some survey and also working with the state kind of in their application process in the SBA.
Now, I know you've been busy since coming on board in terms of the economic development role and discussing possible placements here in Burlington of different businesses. Where are you on that? Is everything on hold? Are you still in discussions with various biotech companies, for instance?
We're reaching out to biotech because if anything, that industry is seeing kind of a level of activity that you're not finding in most industries right now, just given the investment flows for the virus and for the activity on the research front. So we've heard about that in Cambridge and Kendall Square, but right now, everyone feels very tentative on moving forward. I know, especially, I think the most hard hit has been, our retail. And as you know, the mall is closed. Macy's had been looking forward to do some kind of rethinking, and I know that's on hold. Obviously, Simon Properties has put everything on hold. And so they're doing some of their internal construction around the tenant improvement still for the mall. But in terms of advancing some additional thought at this point, people are just being extremely cautious because there's so much uncertainty.
Now, from a financial standpoint for the town, two of the most important components are the hotel tax and the local options meals tax. Those seem to be two of the hardest hit industries in Burlington and indeed nationwide. Right. How do you see that? What efforts can be made other than to encourage our residents to go out and eat? What efforts can be made there?
Well, I know in terms of at least planning for, the community, Paul Sagarino, our town administrator, has talked to Rich a little in BCAT and has shared that, for planning purposes in, the fourth quarter of this year, they're expecting and planning for zero incoming funds from that, the receipts, I guess. Typically how it works, it goes to the state collects the hotel and meals taxes anyway and distributes it. And there's a lot to be known of how that's going to shake out for the following year. Because, for example, as Paul had mentioned, in a strong average fourth quarter, it's like $1.2 million. And for this quarter, we're going to have to plan for zero. And so I know we're working on internally from the town's perspective to take a look at every expenditure on every line item to make sure that is at the base minimum and essential need for the community.
Well, apparently we had already made the budget goal for income on those two categories, but going forward, it looks like a problem. Well, we wish you luck, and we hope anybody can give you as much help as possible in economic development in the coming months. Thank you for joining us, and stay safe.
Thank you. Thank you, Phil.
Some people who are out of work due to COVID-19 related reasons, but who have traditionally been in professions that did not qualify for unemployment benefits can now apply. A new state program, Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, provides payment to workers not traditionally eligible for unemployment benefits, including those who are self-employed, independent contractors, workers with limited work history, and others who are unable to work as a direct result of the coronavirus public health emergency. The program provides up to 39 weeks of unemployment benefits to individuals who fit the program's criteria. To qualify, you will need to demonstrate that you are out of work for COVID-19 related reasons and to provide proof of former levels of income with such materials as 1099 forms, pay stubs, and bank statements. You can find a link to the full list of what you will need to complete the application and how to apply at our website, bcattv.org/bnews. Up next, we have our weekly coronavirus update. Hope we're not going to have too many more of those. With Dr. Wayne Saltzman of the Burlington Board of Health for the latest on the situation. Let's check it out.
Hi, everyone. Dr. Wayne Saltzman, geriatrician and elected member of the Burlington Board of Health, coming to you once again to help you stay informed, be prepared, and feel supported during this time of COVID-19. Lots of stuff continuing to go on in our world around this pandemic, and some things I'd like to talk to you about. But first, as always, the numbers. 2.8 million confirmed cases of COVID-19 around the world, but 745,000 recoveries. 870,000 cases in the United States, but 81,000 recoveries. And 195,000 folks have been tested in the state of Massachusetts, and testing is still ongoing, as we all know. Now, there's been a lot of talk about medications or cures or interventions for COVID-19. I know people are becoming somewhat impatient, wondering what's going on. And all I can tell you is that when it comes to science, it's not something that moves as quickly as we would like it to. But science, science, science is the key. We know that some medications that have been espoused as being successful haven't quite worked out. But there are clinical trials underway with medications that might help. People are wondering when the vaccination is going to come about. And there's been talk about a year or sometime next year. And those are probably true because remember, it's not so much creating the vaccine, it's making sure that it's safe, it's making sure that it can be produced in large quantities, and it's making sure that it's effective. And these things do take time. So have patience. There are people who are already working on the safety aspects, and there's testing going on regarding a potential vaccine across the world. I was very concerned yesterday to hear our governor's report regarding our current status of hospitalizations across the world. Not because there were so many people with COVID-19 in the hospital, but because people who would benefit from coming to the hospital were staying at home becoming much more ill, and by the time they were getting into the hospital, some serious interventions had to be taken that might not have been needed had people come sooner. I know that there's this concern about going to the hospital because that's where COVID-19 is. But our hospitals across the state have made plans to make sure that COVID-19 is separated from people who don't have COVID-19. So if you feel ill, if you feel that the emergency room is the right place for you to be, and you would have thought that before COVID-19, do not let thoughts about COVID-19 cloud your judgment. If you need to go to the hospital, if you feel you need to go, please go. Please let people help you. It's the best thing that we can do is to make sure that we aren't at home becoming more ill when we could actually be helped if we went to the hospital earlier. So please go if you feel you need to go. Otherwise, recommendations have not changed. If you're out in public, please wear a mask. Be a good citizen. Be part of the solution. Hand washing, hand washing, hand washing, more important now than ever before. Cleaning off your surfaces. Social distancing. If you want to go outside, but be responsible in how you interact with other members of our community. Be patient. Things that are talked about with regard to possible interventions need science behind them. Be patient for that science to happen. People are trying to find a cure, trying to find a vaccine, trying to help us all get back to a normal work life. If you know an older adult who could benefit from a phone call, please make one. We're all in this together. Be safe. Be well.
We'd like to extend our gratitude to Dr. Saltzman for being available on a regular basis during this period of time and providing us with those updates on the impact of the virus. To get a sense of how the situation is impacting the town of Burlington, BNEWS Director Rich Hosford held a video interview with Town Administrator Paul Sagarino this week for a Town Administrator update. He started by asking him his thoughts on business and government departments getting back to normal on May 4, the date the Governor Charlie Baker has of now set as the end of the closing of non-essential businesses. Here is what he had to say.
I would consider that date to be highly unlikely, Rich. You know, we would love to have that happen, but you know, I've learned a lot about science over the past month, and if you follow the situation in New York, they seem to be have an improving situation down there, and they're still not quite ready to open up. I think that if you look at Massachusetts's numbers, we're trailing sort of what happened in New York by a couple of weeks. So, you know, they extended their deadline a minimum to May 15th. I can't imagine that the state isn't also going, the state of Massachusetts isn't going to extend its stay-at-home order. I'd be surprised if it wasn't extended, you know, maybe even today or tomorrow at the governor's news conference. Just one man's opinion, though. I don't have any inside information on that.
Next, as we have reported, both the town election and town meeting have been postponed until June, with meetings between department heads being more difficult to organize and Ways and Means meetings being moved online. We asked Mr. Sagarino how preparations for the meeting that includes passing the annual budget are being conducted.
We had a lot of this work done prior to the pandemic, and you know, we're moving forward, but it's a very uncertain time. I think many of our board members, elected and appointed, have concerns about the financial impact of the pandemic, and rightfully so. So we are, you know, constantly evaluating the feedback we're getting at meetings. We meet with the school department on a weekly basis to try to, you know, understand where we are and where we're going. But the process is moving forward. I mean, all the work was well underway prior to this starting, and you know, we're as you know, we're in the process of moving articles through the board process for approvals prior to town meeting. So.
Finally, we asked if the loss of tax revenue was having an impact on the capital projects town meeting will be asked to approve. Here is what Paul had to say.
First of all, anything that makes it onto the capital list is very, very important purchase or expenditure or project for us. I mean, we can't afford to put projects on there that aren't very beneficial, aren't very needed. So it's more a question of not whether they're needed, it's a question of timing. So we've asked all department heads to go back and evaluate their request and just sort of determine, is there a project that we can hold off on till September town meeting or possibly January town meeting? So in other words, not cancel the projects, but just sort of delay the implementation of them until we have more information about sort of what's going on in the economy. So that's what we're working on right now.
You can find the full Town Administrator update on our website at bcattv.org/bnews. According to the Mass Department of Health, if a provider recommends that you should be tested, but their facility cannot offer the test, obtain a referral and contact one of the facilities on a list that can be found on the Board of Health website and our website. While none of the locations are located in Burlington, there are some in neighboring communities. You may need to undergo an additional eligibility screen before you can be tested and make an appointment. Walk-ins are not taken. If you're feeling unwell but not sure if what you have are symptoms of the virus or something else like allergies, the Burlington Board of Health has also provided information on the symptoms of COVID-19 and provided a questionnaire you can fill out before contacting your doctor. I'm sure your daughter is concerned. You can also find this link on our website at bcattv.org/bnews. If you do feel unwell and are waiting for a response from a healthcare provider, stay inside and avoid contact with others until you can get a test done if your doctor deems it necessary. With schools now closed through the end of the academic year, People Helping People and the Burlington Food Pantry will continue providing free breakfasts and lunches to students who normally receive free or reduced lunches at school, but they need the community's help to do so. Melanie Goshgarian, who is running the People Helping People lunch program, said that the schools remaining closed will put a strain on the pantry without continued support from the community and local businesses. She said that the program could use donations of cereal, pancake mix, individual-sized snacks, breakfast items, shelf milk, juice boxes, lunch bags, and sandwich bags. She said they're also having difficulty getting fresh milk and are running low on disinfectant wipes and sanitizers with so many people volunteering. Donations can be made when the pantry is open, Mondays and Wednesdays from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., Tuesdays from 3 to 7 p.m., and Thursdays 10 a.m. to noon. That's down at St. Mark's. The phone number for the pantry is 781-270-6625 if anyone would like to call for the latest needs or if they need assistance themselves. Monetary donations can be made online by visiting peoplehelpingpeopleinc.org. Financial donations have the added benefit of allowing the organization to support local businesses by shopping at them and also by buying the specific items in need. Excuse me. There's another population in Burlington who could use help getting necessary groceries and supplies, and that is our seniors. We go now to Council on Aging Director Marge McDonald for a special senior news segment on how being stuck at home is impacting some Burlington seniors and how younger and healthier people can lend a hand. Let's take a look.
Hello, everyone. I'm Marge McDonald, Director of the Burlington Council on Aging and Senior Center. The extended stay-at-home advisory is difficult for everyone, but in particular for our older residents who may not have the ability to go online and order food, even if they could get an appointment. Many cannot go outside due to health conditions, and really, I don't think we want them to have to go brave the grocery store anyway. My main ask of Burlington is that if you have an older person or couple in your neighborhood, please go and ask them if they need anything. They may not have family nearby, or that family member may not be able to help for a variety of reasons, including their own health or working in a medical environment. If you're going to the store anyway, you could probably pick up a few things for them, and you never know, you might make a new friend. We are starting to get phone calls from older residents that they are running out of groceries. If your health is good and you have the time, we could also use some volunteers to go shopping for seniors. We will have to do a query or a background check, but that is a short form to fill out, a picture of your license, and within a day, we can very likely send you out to shop. To volunteer to shop, call the COA at 781-270-1950 and leave a message for Andrea. The Senior Center, like many places, is closed, but like many government offices, we are considered essential and staff is coming in Monday through Thursday. You need to be aware, however, that not all staff is in every day. and the staff that does come in does spend time helping pack the home-delivered meals and delivering them. The outreach workers are continuing with outreach and social services, and we are working on getting as much as we can online. As of right now, we have Sophia's class, the art class, 55-plus job seekers, and one of our support groups online. We are looking forward to having bingo, our memory cafe, and perhaps Tai Chi going online as well. A survey did go out, and I'm entering your answers as they come in. I will send out a message to everyone as soon as I have most of the surveys back. For bingo, you will also be able to call in, so you will not need a computer to play. That's all for now. I'm Marge McDonald, and I look forward to seeing or hearing you all in our new virtual senior center.
Some of our BCAT volunteers are using their time in quarantine to handcraft homemade masks, and even the very young ones are helping out. For more, we go now to BNews reporter Tad Stefanak, who has this story.
We're all coping with the COVID epidemic, large and small. And BCAT volunteers, Maureen Spencer and her daughter Mackenzie, have found a creative and beneficial way to contribute.
Mackenzie learned about the germs with COVID-19, and she wanted to do something to try and help people get healthy and stay healthy. So we decided to try to learn how to sew and use a sewing machine for the first time. And Mackenzie learned how to use scissors for the first time. And we've been making masks. Mackenzie, do you know how many masks we've made so far?
You tell them.
We've made a little over 100 masks.
I lost my pink scissors, so the Easter bunny on Easter, he got me yellow scissors and green scissors.
It's true. Then we use the sewing machine to sew the pieces together and put elastic in. And then Mackenzie is in charge of cutting all the loose strings and taking the pins out. Mackenzie can cut a straight line now, so we're pretty good. She's got those 2 pairs of scissors.
With an array of colorful designs and fun characters, Mackenzie makes sure their masks are for everybody.
We have small that will fit me, medium for medium kids, and big for big grown-ups.
The pair has also been donating and distributing their personalized masks.
Mostly friends and family, we've been, or friends of friends, we've been dropping them off. We've had quite a few mailings actually too. Right now, it's just kind of like our friends and family that are on Facebook. If they send us a message that we need them, Mackenzie chooses the fabric that will best suit them. If anyone needs some, feel free to reach out to us via BCAT. Mackenzie will be happy to select a fabric option that she thinks will suit you best. Elastic colors, we have pink, brown, and white. She will also choose those.
And blue.
And blue. Then we can either arrange for a drop-off or mail them out, whatever is easier. We just want to work to...
Or we can put it in people's mailbox.
We could put it in your mailbox. Mackenzie puts a personalized note in each mask delivery. Her favorite thing to write right now is "Be Well," because those are fun letters to write. This is quite the learning project. And she's also been painting rocks. We don't mail the rocks, but if it's a delivery, she leaves a rock also with your note. So we can just leave it in your mailbox. No contact delivery.
6 feet apart.
That's right.
Mackenzie has become an expert on COVID-19 safety practices.
Yeah, our neighbor has made some hand sanitizer too. So Mackenzie carries it in her pocket everywhere she goes.
And then you rub it into your fingers and on your hands and on the back of your hand.
Is big on lecturing people if she sees them washing their hands. Mackenzie sings the ABCs while she washes her hands.
And sometimes they count, and sometimes I sing ABC. I hope the germs are away soon, because I've been waiting for I don't know, but I've been waiting to see all my friends for a long time. It's kind of sad sometimes.
It is kind of sad.
From Mackenzies Masks, I'm BNews reporter Tad Stefanak.
Be well.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Stay healthy.
That makes 2 of us who are sad, Mackenzie. The Burlington Police Department took to Twitter to thank the Boston-based M.S. Walker Distillery for sending along hand sanitizer to them and the Burlington Fire Department that they had made. In a letter, the distillery explained they switched from making libations to sanitizer based on the World Health Organization recipe, and they wanted to distribute it to community organizations working with the public. MS Walker goes on to explain that the hand sanitizer is made of 160 proof grain alcohol, glycerin, hydrogen peroxide, and water. We are doing everything in our power to play a small part in keeping our community healthy, they said. By week's end, we have donated more than 100,000 bottles of sanitizer to various frontline organizations throughout the Northeast. We are extremely grateful for the incredible work you are doing in a time of crisis and always. Burlington Public Library may be closed to the public during the COVID-19 outbreak, but they are still providing fun and informative events and activities for residents through their online website. BNews reporter Robert Paris spoke to the library director, Mike Wick, about these programs and has this report.
As the COVID-19 outbreak continues, many businesses and stores have reduced their hours or have closed completely. One closed Burlington landmark, the public library, is keeping residents occupied with their brand new virtual online activities.
The idea of doing something for programming online, though, was a much bigger idea. We had to find a platform. We had to find individuals who would be comfortable and willing to do it. And then we had to, roll it out in terms of advertising, in addition to kind of ironing out some of the technical issues that we had with it.
There are a number of upcoming classes, presenters, and author meet and greets for the community to enjoy.
We're having Liz Barber, who hosted a very popular event about feasting on grain bowls. She's going to be coming for a 4-part cooking series. People are tending to eat in their homes. And so Liz is going to be teaching different aspects of cooking, baking, quick meals, and kind of a little bit more standard cooking fare. We have, knowing that this is time of psychological stress for a lot of people, we have a stretching and meditation class coming up. We also have a very popular children's author, Jacqueline Davis, who wrote The Lemonade War. She's going to be doing an online Q&A session on Facebook. We have book clubs that we're going to be doing. So we're going to have 2 book clubs, one for children with Septimus Heap, another for teens and adults with a book called Funny You Don't Look Autistic. And these books are available on Hoopla and Overdrive for people to download and read.
You can go to the library's online homepage for events, sign-ups, and much more.
People can go to our library homepage at burlingtonpubliclibrary.org, and we have a couple of new icons on the page that people will be drawn to. The first is our stay-at-home library. The stay-at-home library lists all of the resources that they can use from home. Like I mentioned, our e-resources, but also registering for a library card and, looking at some of the online calendars that we have, which will highlight our virtual programs.
The library is constantly finding new virtual ways to get people active.
We're trying to do it in the same way that we do all of our programs at the library in the physical space. We're trying to keep that same kind of range going with our virtual events. We're hoping to engage people recreationally. We're hoping to stimulate people intellectually. And we would like people to engage in lifelong learning and exploration through these programs.
Lastly, the library staff is missing one thing out of all of this: people.
It's different seeing people's reactions in person. I'm a people person. I'll admit it entirely. I miss being in meetings with our staff and getting to hear their great ideas. I miss just being able to walk through the library and see people coming in. Families coming in and enjoying, families coming in and seeing other friends of theirs. And so not having that space, it's happening, but it's happening outside of a realm that we get to enjoy the feedback and seeing that happen.
I'm Robert Paris for BNEWS Weekly.
Hey, don't forget to like the Burlington Public Library Facebook page as well, where all of these events and happenings are posted as well. The Department of Public Works Water Division said they're being forced to close the parking lot at the Mill Pond facility when expecting deliveries because people were parking there where they shouldn't, despite the cones in those places. The Water Division said on Facebook that with the closing of many parks and walking areas in surrounding communities, Many people have been using the Mill Pond Reservoir to walk their dogs or just to get outside and go walking. The staff of the Mill Pond Water Treatment Facility has placed cones to prevent people from parking on the grass or blocking the chemical delivery area, but some people have ignored them and parked there anyway. On Wednesday, a delivery of chemicals was missed due to the area being blocked by vehicles. So moving forward, the parking lot at the treatment facility will be closed on scheduled delivery days and remain closed until the deliveries are complete. Another week, another photo to highlight. This week we go out into nature for our photo. It was sent in by Phyllis Neufeld and is a close-up of a common backyard bird, a chickadee. It was taken on Horn Pond in Woburn, the place Phyllis said she has been frequenting to practice her photography and to keep sane during the times of coronavirus and social distancing. Thank you for the photo, Phyllis. We'd like to see your photos. They could be of your stay-at-home activities, shots of your pets, the coming signs of spring, or just the weather scene from your own sofa. Whatever you think is interesting and want to share. Email your photos to bcat@bcattv.org with the subject line Photo of the Week. Okay, that's it from the news desk here at BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher, along with Rich Hosford, Tad Stefanak, and Robert Paris. Thank you to our guests today, Melissa Tintakalis and Paul Sagarino. Thank you for joining us.